Welcome back, Stalkers. I hope you're geared up and ready for deployment because it looks like we're not quite finished yet. Our mission is to take one more trip into the zone, so make sure your magazines are loaded and your rations are packed, because an army of mutants, backstabbing thieves, and otherworldly anomalies are the only things in between us and a wealth of precious artifacts. So check your weapons, get ready, and keep in mind the zone's one true rule: survive at all costs. I'm Jared, and this is Trash Classics. Stalker is easily one of the most underrated game series of all time. Its underground following spans the globe, and those who've dedicated themselves to it have been playing the Stalker games for almost a decade now. The pedigree that these games have earned cannot be denied, and with all this reverence, it's only fitting that Call of Pripyat, the last game in the series, go out with a bang. But before we dig in, those of you who are new to the series may want to look at my reviews of the two earlier entries by clicking on the annotations here or checking out the links in the description. And with that out of the way, let's dive headfirst into the most refined, condensed experience that Stalker has to offer.
Ah! It's inside me! No!
Taking place after the events of Clear Sky and Shadow of Chernobyl, Call of Pripyat sees you taking control of an unexpected protagonist. Much like Raiden's introduction in Metal Gear Solid 2, Stalker fans will be jarred by the idea of playing as one of their worst enemies, an army soldier. It seems that Strelok disabling the Brain Scorcher and clearing the way to the heart of the zone lit a fire under the collective asses of the Ukrainian government. And instead of harassing and murdering free Stalkers in the area around Cordon, the army has decided a full-scale excursion into the CNPP is a better use of their time. After the inevitable failure of this operation and subsequent crashing of all helicopters involved, you play as Alexander Degtyarev, an army major tasked with discovering exactly what went wrong and how the zone turned millions of dollars in government spending into piles of irradiated scrap metal.
One more step and he's...
The only problem? Well, the army is ranked just under bloodsuckers on any list of most hated things in the zone. So now, undercover and lacking any leads, you're gonna have to scour the zone for answers. Being the third game in the series, and the third use of the X-ray engine, you would expect that COP would have all the kinks worked out by now, and at least partially you would be right. The combat, mechanics, ballistics, and graphics are the best you're gonna find in a Stalker game. Every enemy encounter, every firefight, and even the side quests feel like the game devs had finally perfected their craft. There's a certain sense of polish in this entry that stands above the games that preceded it. The fact that COP feels so superior to Shadow of Chernobyl and Clear Sky is even more of a testament to the game devs when you open your map and see that there are less unique environments to explore. With only 3 main areas, you would assume that this would be a short adventure, but each of these areas are much larger than previous offerings. The 3 main areas in the game, Zaton, Yanov, and Pripyat, are densely populated with enough hidden areas, secret stashes, and dangers that you'll never really find an absence of things to do. And their sheer immense size should keep you more than busy enough to take your mind off of any misgivings you may have. But if you are looking for actual problems with the game, you need look no further than its performance. Now, it's no secret that Stalker games have always been poorly optimized, but Call of Pripyat is by far the worst offender. Getting near any safe havens like Skadovsk or Yanov Station will find your FPS dropping hard, and I really couldn't tell you why. This combined with random stuttering are enough to frustrate the hell out of anyone who can run modern games at 60 plus frames per second. Now, I know what you're thinking, and yes, I could just turn down some graphical settings, but that brings me to another feather in COP's cap. This is an amazingly beautiful game, and the last thing you're going to want to do is alter that. Heading into the settings and cranking up the visual distance to the max will have you stopping every couple of minutes to bask in the alien and gorgeous landscapes.
You shouldn't have come here, Stalker. Now you will be worm food.
Those of you looking to experience a story on par with Shadow of Chernobyl may be disappointed here, as Call of Pripyat makes no attempt to further explain the lore of the zone. This, however, doesn't mean that there's nothing on offer, but those of you who are interested in the revelations made in the last 2 games will probably be left wanting. Whether or not you like the ending, true Stalker fans will no doubt jump for joy at the inclusion of a free play mode. When the end of the story is reached, the player can either be airlifted out of Pripyat or stay in the zone and continue exploring. If you choose the latter, you can expect new missions and higher level gear, but let's face it, the real reward is just a little more time in one of the best locations any game has ever been set in. Which brings us to the key player in each Stalker game's expert level of immersion, the zone itself. Now I know this is getting old to hear, but there's just something about the oddly inviting nature of this wasteland created by a combination of radiation and unnatural forces. Every step you take is nerve-wracking, and every area that you discover turns into equal parts excitement and fear. Exploration isn't a tacked-on feature, and it's not required to finish the game. The zone is made in a way that inspires you to search out every town and underground lab. Even though it's a terrifying endeavor, I just can't stop revisiting these games, and the prospect of exploring the zone is a large portion why. As for you fans of the series wondering where Call of Pripyat stands, I would put it way ahead of its predecessors as far as gameplay and overall polish goes, but definitely lacking when compared to the overarching story of what the zone is and exactly how it came to be. As far as open world survival tinged first person shooters go, this game is in a league of its own, and the addition of mods like the Arsenal Overhaul make it stand even further above its admittedly sparse competition. In spite of, or even maybe because of the flaws that comes with such an experimental engine, Call of Pripyat stands as my absolute favorite game in the series. And as far as newcomers go, I assure you it is definitely worth tackling that steep learning curve that tends to come with Stalker games. Well guys, it's been fun, but I have to start planning my evac because I've been here way too long, and as tends to be the case, with long exposure to the zone's harsh radiation, Call of Pripyat has begun the process of mutating into a trashed classic. Well guys, thanks for accompanying me to the very end of the Stalker series. Looking back at these games has been an absolute joy, and I'm glad I could have you guys along for the ride. But still, you know, it's kind of sad. I mean, this is the end of an era here, and it's a little depressing. But, oh well, the good things in life always end too soon. And besides, maybe there's another series out there with mutants, radiation, and survival gameplay. Yeah, maybe.